Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Prep for Wave Week. Today is day 5, all about expansion. And I'm super excited to have you in on this session because I know Facebook ads and just ads in general are a really hot topic in expanding your travel business reach, but we don't have many resources within our travel industry to really break down what ads are, how you set them up, who they're for, and like where exactly in your marketing plan they really lie in. And that's why I have brought someone who I consider a huge expert on this topic, because not only has he done and run his own Facebook ads, but he just breaks things down as a regular human being to other regular human beings so that it's not so hard. So we're going to demystify a little bit of Facebook ads. So without further ado, welcome Zach Spuckler to Prep for Wave Week.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. It really is an honor, and I cannot wait to dig in deeper into Facebook ads. So how did you first get started, and tell us a little bit more about what you do with Heart Soul Hustle?
Yeah, so my company is Heart, Soul, and Hustle, and we work a lot with online entrepreneurs that are looking to grow their email list, get more leads, generate more sales. And I started several years ago. I don't know if anyone knows Periscope, super old school live streaming platform before Facebook Live was even a thing. And that's where I got started. And I just kind of talked a little bit about my experience with Facebook advertising. I had run a previous business that was around lead generation, webinars, kind of getting people to sign up for digital offers or book calls with me. And I ended up filling up my client roster pretty quickly with Periscope, and the rest is kind of history. Now we run Facebook ads for people. We have a small ads agency arm of our business. We have an education arm of our business where we help other people run ads. And then we have regular trainings and challenges where we support people in a free capacity, teaching them how to promote their own Facebook ads.
Wonderful. So everybody, you should have already listened to the precursor to this. So the last podcast episode on the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur, I talked a little bit about lead magnets because that's really the base to get you started, correct, with Facebook ads. You can't you need something to entice people to want to click on the Facebook ad and then join your email list.
Yes. A lead magnet is absolutely essential. And that's where everything starts. I don't, for most people, regardless of what business you're in, other than physical products, if you're selling a service or an offer, people want to get to know you, and you really want to build up. I mean, I know most of you listening probably know this, but you want to build up a customer base or a lead base or people who are interested in working with you so that you can communicate with them on a regular basis. And a lead magnet is essentially what we use to get people to give us their name and email through Facebook ads to grow our customer base or our lead base of people that are interested in becoming customers.
Yes. So this is really people who don't know you, or maybe they know you but haven't really connected. That's what Facebook ads is for, correct?
Correct. So I like to think of Facebook ads as the first touch point. It's where people are kind of seeing you in a social media setting, because Facebook ads happen on social media. And people are kind of saying yes, I'm interested in that thing that you put in front of me. They're giving you their name and email in exchange for their attention. And then you have that name and email that you can follow up with via more advertising, via literal email marketing, or old school, follow up where you reach out to people, get on the phone, and have conversations.
Awesome. Yes. All right. So diving in a little bit into the Facebook ads world and setting things up, there's tons of options for Facebook ads and setting them up, what you want to be the outcome of your Facebook ad. So what are you finding is the most successful when someone is trying to grow their list as the objective?
Absolutely. So with Facebook ad, you have different objectives. And an objective is basically you're telling Facebook, hey, this is my ultimate goal. This is what I want you to make sure you're finding people who are interested in. And so we like to use lead generation. Facebook now calls it leads or lead generation ads. And it's basically where somebody opts in. And there's two ways you can do this. You can have them opt in on your website, or you can have them opt in on Facebook itself. Having them opt in on Facebook itself is my preference, because you don't have to worry about the changes with iOS 14. You don't have to worry about what we call the Facebook pixel, which has to do with tracking and software tracking and cross-platform tracking. You don't have to worry about any of that if you collect name and emails on Facebook. What you do need, and I just like to throw this out there, is some software that moves people from Facebook to what we call your CRM. And your CRM is basically just wherever you're holding your list. It could be ConvertKit, it could be ActiveCampaign, it could be Aweber, it could be Constant Contact. There's like a million of them. But basically, you need a software that is what we call the bridge between Facebook and your CRM. And I personally like, it's called Save My Leads. It's about $30 a month. And the big resistance that I get from people is like, well, if I'm running ads, now I have to take on this extra expense. Having that extra piece of software and being able to do lead generation on Facebook is cheaper. So ultimately, spending that $30 a month brings down your overall ad cost, generally more than $30 a month. So even though you have this additional quote unquote expense, you're actually getting your ad costs lower. So that's the other benefit of these lead generation ads, is that Facebook really rewards you for keeping people on their platform. And so in exchange for keeping people on their platform, what they do is they say, okay, since you're not sending them to your website, we're going to charge you a little less to show these ads. They also convert, which means how many people give you their name and email after they click on the ad, at a much higher rate in our experience. So essentially, you pay less money for the ads to be seen, you get more names and emails, and so ultimately your cost per lead, what we call CPL, is lower. So you're getting names and emails for less money. So when it comes to objectives, I'm a huge advocate for lead generation. And what's really cool about Facebook lead ads, especially in the travel industry, is that you can add more things to the form than you traditionally would with like a standard opt-in on your website. So you can have like, when are you interested in traveling? Where are you interested in traveling? I noticed you clicked on my ad about the Bahamas. How much are you planning to spend to get there? So you can add these little pieces of information that will import into your system that you can not only find out their name and email, but you can get a baseline of what they're interested in, what they're looking to spend, and you can follow up with your most qualified leads.
Awesome. Awesome. Like I can feel the people that are like, oh my goodness, from this information. Because I think like you just break it down so easily. So once somebody, and especially like they're getting all this information. So if they're asking these special travel related questions about like what their budget is or when are they looking to travel, where can they find this information once it's been inputted? And then also, so like, let's say I signed up for your ad or for your freebie, like, where do I get it? How does that all connect?
Yeah, great question. So first things first, that data, you can set it up to import into your CRM, or you can just access it in Facebook. It's what's called the Facebook Leads Center. They've made it a little difficult to find, but if you Google Facebook Ads Lead Center, you can ultimately get there. That's what I tell people. If you can't find something, just Google it with the word Facebook and you can usually find it. Facebook loves to move buttons and interfaces around, which is, great for keeping me in business, annoying for making sure that you're current on what's going on. But you can import them into your CRM, or you can access them through the Lead Center. Now, in terms of delivering the freebie, we generally do that via an email. So like I said, the software that we use, Save My Leads, connects you from Facebook to your CRM. You can set it up so that when someone is added to your CRM, and it's different with every system, some people call it a tag, some people call it a form, some people call it a sequence. They are essentially the same thing in some softwares and then vastly different things in other softwares. But just know that we call it a triggering event. So if somebody comes into, let's say I use ConvertKit. So somebody comes into ConvertKit, if they are tagged from Facebook that they filled out a certain form, we have it automatically set up. They call it an automation that somebody gets an email with a download link for their freebie. A lot of CRMs have gotten really robust where you can actually upload and have the download link inside your CRM. You don't need something else to host it or download it. We really like PDFs as our lead magnet of choice, or info packets, where people can put their name and email, and then we automatically email it to them. Now, here's what's really cool. With Facebook lead ads, when you're having people put their name and email on Facebook, The thank you page that they get, you get one link that you can send them to. Now, they won't automatically be sent there. They have to click a button, but this is great because you can say, hey, if you're already interested and you want to chat, click here to book a call with me. If you're just getting started in the travel industry and you want to grow your Instagram, you can say, click here to follow me on Instagram. If you want to get them the info packet sooner than later, you can say, click this button and get the info packet right now and watch a video on what it's like to work with me. So you also have this very lucrative opportunity to start connecting people to yourself and your offers right on the thank you page. So for me, the way that I look at this is I want to email them the info packet and ask them to take a specific action. So whether that's following me on Instagram, booking a call with me, maybe you even have like a DVD that you send out. Like I know a lot of people who are in like the Disney planning space. It's really common that we send out the informational DVD, right? So you could even be like, hey, if you want the info DVD, click here, fill out your name and information, and I will send you, your DVD. There's just so much that you can do with these ads. And it's really, really powerful strategy.
Right. And you had mentioned that people who sign up for your list through these types of ads to get the freebie lead to higher conversions. Is there a reason why, as opposed to maybe like other formulas?
Yeah, the reason that the conversion rate is higher is because there's less friction. So in marketing, we use the term friction, and it basically is a fancy way that makes us sound smarter than we are of saying the number of steps someone has to take to get something. So traditionally, when somebody goes to a Facebook ad, they have to wait for the page to load. They have to read the page, they have to click a button. That pops something up. They have to enter their name and email. On Facebook, they click a button, it automatically loads, they put in their name and email, and it's done. And with Facebook, you can even set it to auto-populate the name and email. So it automatically fills in their name and email. And this is a big point of contention in my space is like people go, well, if it's automatically filling in their name and email, it's going to give them an email that people don't use, or it's going to use their Facebook email. Facebook has email, like multiple emails on you, believe it or not, for most people, because you've connected different things to Facebook or you've logged in different places. And so the first time I filled out one of these forms, I was shocked because it had like my best personal email that I didn't know I even gave to Facebook. So Facebook knows like your best email, and they're going to help people use that. But the auto-populating feature helps you get more emails at a lower cost. And what I tell people is even if you get one or two dud emails, if the cost per lead is way cheaper, it's not the end of the world. And you're automating a lot of this process. And we see 60% open rates on our welcome email sequences time and time again.
Ooh,
and just in case I'm getting too nerdy, what that means is everybody who joins our email list, about 60% of them actually open the email and read what I've sent them. So we get a really good engagement rate from these lead ads as well.
Wonderful. That I keep writing notes because I'm like, okay, this and this and this. A question as to why do you prefer utilizing Save My Ads versus another automation tool like Zapier or Zapier?
Yeah, so you can use Save My Leads. You can use Zapier. There's other ones. There's like Pabbly is another one. I think Connect.io might be one. I use Save My Leads because I've just found it's the simplest to set up. And so when I work with people, I'm like maybe Zapier might be like better in terms of like features. The one negative thing about Save My Leads is that it does nothing else, right? It literally is for Facebook lead ads into your CRM. It has no other functions. Zapier is very robust in that it has multiple softwares, multiple features, multiple integrations. And that's great if you're a techie person. Most people I work with are like, just give me the easy way to do this. And to me, Save My Leads is the easiest software out there. You like click connect to Facebook, it automatically logs you in. You click connect to my CRM, it automatically logs you in. It's like very straightforward, very intuitive. And I think it's just the easiest option out there.
Okay, perfect. So essentially like tech needed is of course like Facebook Meta Business Suite, something like Save My Leads or Save My Leads. And then like your email, ConvertKit, Flowdesk, MailerLite, MailChimp, all those, because you're going to need to create a workflow in one of those so that when they know that you have gotten a new lead, it's been tagged, it has to send them an email to have them get the freebie, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So going on to budget, what would you say, like if somebody was considering this, but they weren't sure what type of budget, what would you say is like a budget, like bare minimum to get bang for your buck when they're starting out?
Yeah, I like to be around $10 a day to start. You
Okay.
can always scale up, you can always scale back, but about $300 a month is a really good place to start.
Okay. And then kind of going from there, I was like, so how long should a lead ad be running for then?
Oh, this is such a good question. So, a lead ad, what we like to do is we go through a period of phases. So, for the first 2 to 3 days, when you first set up your lead generation ad, you're going to set it up to various what we call targets. And target is a Facebook term. It's basically who you're running the ad to. Right. So, like, for example, I'm running it to people who like Sandals Resort. If I'm doing the Bahamas, I might say people who like Sandals Resorts.
Okay.
I'm going to run an ad to people who like sandals for $5 a day with my copy and creative and opt-in form, all linked together with like my info packet on the best places to vacation in the Bahamas. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let that run for 2 to 3 days. I'm going to let it run and I'm just going to make no judgments about it. If it's converting, awesome. If it's not converting, no judgment. I'm just testing. After about 2 to 3 days, I will go in, and if I'm happy with my numbers, I will scale up. If I'm not happy with my numbers, I will start to turn things off. So in advertising, we do a lot of what we call split testing. And split testing means we're not just running one version of our ad and saying, "Ooh, I hope this works." We're running 2, 3, 4 variations of our ad to people who are interested in Sandals Resort. And we're seeing, does one of these ads work better than the other one? So if after a few days, I'm still not happy with my results, I will start turning off the ads that aren't working. I'll say, okay, this ad did not work. I'm going to turn it off. This ad worked really well. I'm going to leave it on. And here's the trick. I'm actually testing those 4 ads, not just to people who like sandals, but maybe also to people who like, I don't know, let's say like the Excellence Resorts suites, right? Which are big in Mexico and the Dominican, right? Maybe I'm trying to get a different subset of people who maybe want to travel in the Caribbean, right? So I'm also testing it to all these different places, right? So so I'm spending $5 a day on sandals, $5 a day on the Excellence chain of resorts. And I can keep going. I can test different targets, but now I've got 8 different ads running to 2 different places, and I'm going to start to kind of turn things on and off. That's happening between days 3 and 7. After day 7, I have a pretty good sense of what is and isn't working, and I'm just going to let them run until they stop performing, until I have too many leads that I need to follow up with that I can't keep up, or until I'm happy with my results and I want to take a break or I don't want to keep spending. Right? Ideally, you get to a point where you're just like, I have enough leads, I'm good. But it is possible that the ad kind of gets like, ads get more expensive over time because the way Facebook works is it's an automated learning machine, AI. And so what happens is it's going to find your cheapest leads first, and it's going to get more expensive over time, generally speaking. This is a common trend that we see. So Facebook knows, based on your targeting and your copy and your ads, who they should run the ads to first to get the best conversions. And then it slowly kind of plays on the outskirts of your best converting people. And it's going to get more expensive over time. So that's what we generally see happen. People are really happy with their costs. Things are looking good. And it just gets expensive over time. When it gets expensive, we then just try new copy and new creative, potentially new targeting. And you repeat that process over and over and over again in perpetuity, just always testing new copy and creative to new people to get new leads.
Nice. And by creative, you're saying either like a photo or a video or some sort of graphic that you put out there.
Yes. So in the marketing world, creative, at least in my marketing world, we refer to creative as like the image, the video, the visual that you see with your ad, and copy is the words that go along with it, your headline, your text, your descriptions.
Okay. I know that Facebook will tell you how much your leads are costing. So it like based on the ads, like you're running all these different tests, is there a target number or is there a number that like is really good or a range that it signifies that you're doing really well with your ads?
Yeah, this is a really loaded question because it depends on who and what you're targeting, right?
Okay.
So, what we like to look at rather than cost per lead is we like to look at two things. So, one, we look at the click through rate and the conversion rate. So, we look at how many people are clicking on the ad at what rate. So, we want our click through rate to be 1 to 2% or higher, which
Okay.
basically means for every 100 people seeing the ad, I want 1 to 2 people clicking on it.
Okay.
Then we want at least 50% of the people who click on the ad to be giving us their name and email and filling out the form. That number may drop down the more intensive you make the form. For example, if you ask for a phone number, it's going to drop down. The more intimate information you ask for, the less people are just willingly giving it to an advertisement on the internet, right? But if you're asking for name and email, you want to be over 50%. If you're asking for name, email, and phone, you probably want to be over 20%. And it may drop down from there depending on what you ask for. That's what we look at first, right? And if you're thinking about it, Facebook sets the cost per impression, we call it. You don't pay for a click or a lead, you pay for the ad to be shown. If Facebook kind of sets that baseline based on your targets, all you can control is your copy and your creative and your targeting. So if you write better copy and better creative, then your clicks are going to go up and your conversion is going to go up. Right. So we like to focus on those numbers. The opposite side of this coin is we like to focus on what we call EPL, or earning per lead. So for example, if you are a higher end travel agent who's booking, let's say $10,000 vacation packages and you're getting a 15% commission, one client is worth $1,500 in that scenario. If a client is worth $1,500 and it takes 100 leads to get that client, I can spend up to $15 a lead and break even, which means I can spend $7.50 a lead and double my money, or $5 a lead and triple my money, right? So that's how I like to think about it, is not necessarily what should I be spending or like what's the average cost right now. I like to think, what is the cost my business can facilitate to get this lead in the door, right? So it kind of changes the conversation to how much can I spend to what am I looking to profit off the money that I'm putting in. And that does require you to spend for 2, 3, maybe 4 months to kind of get a sense of what your numbers look like. But after that period of time, you can start operating off data instead of operating off assumption.
Love that. That is so helpful, especially like breaking it down, because it's exactly what you were saying. It's not necessarily how much the lead is costing, but what are you getting as a result of the money that you're inputting, and how many trips essentially are being garnered because of these ads that you've put out. And it's like a magic science formula that you have to have like the right creative, the right copy, you're targeting the right people in order for a Facebook ad to really be successful for your business.
Exactly.
Awesome. So one last question for you, because I know we're heading into the holidays. Yes. I have heard that especially for smaller business right now or in a couple of weeks may not be the best time to run ads, because they're going to get really expensive, especially when we're comparing to like all the other big players that have more money to invest in the ads. What's your take, or what have you seen in your experience?
This is a good question. So typically we see an increased cost in advertising in Q4. And the reason we see that is because larger corporations have a fiscal year budget. And that fiscal year budget in a lot of sectors, if you don't spend that money, then the company doesn't allocate you that budget next year. They go, oh, well, you said you were going to spend $300,000 on advertising. You only spent $270,000. So we're just going to kind of like, that's all you really need to operate, right? That's number one. Number two, even in some sectors where that doesn't happen, in Q4, you start to look at your profit and your expenses, and people go, well, I've got to spend money right now because I want to lower my tax liability. And a lot of them turn to pushing money into awareness advertising or just general marketing to just push kind of money out the door in an easy way to offset their tax liability on their profit. That's a really nerdy way of saying people spend more money on advertising in Q4. And so it is what we call a bid-based marketplace on the back end of advertising, which means the more people are trying to spend, the more expensive it gets, because everyone's bidding to kind of get in front of the same people, right? So it tends to be more expensive in Q4. Here's what I would say. I would try to avoid advertising like the last week of the year. And I generally try to avoid advertising around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, maybe like the week of and the week after,
Okay.
because everybody knows like Black Friday is no longer Friday. It like starts on Monday, and Cyber Monday is no
Right.
longer Cyber Monday. It like ends on Friday. So during that kind of 2 week period, it's a little wonky. Believe it or not, we're advertising right now at the beginning of November, and we're seeing really good cost per lead. So it's
Ooh,
also worth experimenting and testing. These are some of the
okay.
lowest lead costs we've seen in a really long time. I always try to avoid that like holiday rush because it's just going to be really expensive. And I try to avoid the end of the year because, again, it's going to be a little expensive. But other than that, it's still worth testing, especially if you find that you're getting a lot of influx of interest in January. Early December or mid December, maybe the perfect time to start generating those leads.
Okay. Ooh, that is very okay. Because I thought it was kind of going to be just like, just stay away. But that's really critical to know that there's like key points that you should
Yep.
stay away from. But there are still like times in November and December that you can still be promoting and testing things out.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Zach, so much for being here. If people want to learn more about you, want to start working with you, get into your world, how can they do that?
Absolutely. So best thing you could do is come connect with me over on Instagram. I'm at Heart Soul Hustle. And then if you're like loving this idea of lead ads, you're like, this sounds great. What's the tech? How do I set things up? Where do I go? What do I click? All the things. What should I say? What should I create? We have a $25 boot camp that we run. It's totally evergreen. You can join it at any time. It's a live training that we did. We update it several times a year. We try to update it twice a year. It's current as of right now. And it walks you through how to set these lead ads up. So if you want to check that out, it's bootcamp.heartsoulhustle.com. You just type that in. It's $25 and you can go learn how to run these lead ads yourself over the course of about 5 days.
Awesome. Wonderful. And I am sure many of you will want to get in on that. So thank you everyone for tuning in to this session for expansion on our final day of Prep for Wave Week. If you have purchased a study hall pass upgrade, I will see you between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern, where we can talk about this session or any of the other sessions today or do some co-working. Again, thanks for being here. Thank you, Zach, and we'll see you later. Bye.